Previously on the diary.
Mr. McConaughey died in an accidental fire at his home while trying to save his twin daughters. The married couple was coming back home late at night. They had paid the babysitter off and were still chatting outside when the fire began. Although the babysitter has been cleared of all charges, the cause of the fire was never determined. Only the mother and one of the twins survived.
We have no house, but we are not homeless. Jessica's dad offered us to stay with them at their house. Out of curiosity, I decided to go back to my October 2014 diary entries. On October 10th, 2014, my mom told me my father had donated blood.
Enough to save my life 3 times over.
But his journal said,
I've accumulated enough blood already to save an adult 4 times over.
Originally, I dismissed this, thinking she just didn't remember correctly. But maybe there's something more to this discrepancy.
The following takes place on May 29, 2015.
Dear Diary, I walked into my mom's room in Jessica's house holding up Dad's journal entry from my diary in one hand and the newspaper clipping in the other. My mom looked at both and just stood still. She made me feel like the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. As if she didn't move at all, I would not bite her head off with my questions. Well, roar. Anyway, she's got some explaining to do. She said, on January 19th, 2002, your dad and I were coming back from a date night. We paid the babysitter and she left. We stayed outside chatting, only for a few minutes. It was a gorgeous night. Then the fire started. Your dad rushed in and quickly brought your sister out. He had not been able to find you, so we went back in, but never came back out. The firefighters found you locked in the basement. The door was locked from outside. 3 days later, you were still in the hospital recovering from second-degree burns. When I brought your sister in to visit you for the first time, she started playing with the remote that controls the bed reclination. She got you all crammed up, and the rubbing of the sheets against your wounds inflicted such pain on you we had to leave the hospital. When I confronted her about it, I couldn't tell if it had been by accident or if she knew exactly what she was doing. 2 days went by. She was allowed back to visit you. She promised she would behave. However, using a pen she found in my purse, she managed to puncture a small hole on the IV bag that was feeding you and had poured her chocolate milk box into it. By the time anybody noticed, the mixture was almost about to go into your veins. The doctor banned your sister from coming back. The next day, I brought her with me, but she stayed outside the room in the visitors area. That day, the doctors had to perform a blood transfusion procedure on you to fight the septic shock you developed from the burn wounds. We unfroze the first blood vial from the bank your father had collected for you. That's why there were only 3 left of the initial 4. When I came back to pick your sister up, she had found some crayons and had drawn a cemetery all over the hospital wall. In the center, there was a gravestone with your name on it. The next day, I fell asleep in your room, but then you started moaning and woke me up. Your sister was playing with the analgesia morphine drip button thingy. I called the nurse and they reviewed the log of clicks and noticed you had received 11 clicks in a 30-minute period of time. Really dangerous. You almost had a heart attack. I don't even know how she got in the room. But I finally gave in to those words your dad wrote in his journal. I finally accepted that there may be some truth to them. The following day, I decided to give your sister up for adoption. I contacted an old college friend of mine who was a reporter to help me write a story where both your dad and you had died, thinking maybe this way, if she thought you were also dead, she would stop trying to kill you.
January 26, 2002. 2 dead in house fire.
Holy nematodes. I'm probably more scared of her now than I ever was of Rocco. I think I'll sleep in Jessica's bed tonight.